Welcome in, Dween Nation. We are the Dween Sports Podcast, and we are just about to get started. But before we do, we'd love if you could like, comment, subscribe, and share so we can continue to be your fantasy sports podcast. Thanks for being part of Dween Nation, and enjoy the show. Welcome in, Dween Nation. This is your host, Justin Paez, alongside Genoa Agudelo, and Week 11 has a lot of juicy matchups this week, and we are excited to dive into every single one of them, picking winners, picking losers, discussing the top games on the week, the shootout games that we want to watch the most, as well as the upsets and the lock picks of the week. So super excited to dive into all of that. But before we do, how you doing, Genoa?
Yo, Dween Nation. What a Week 10 it was, Justin. A happy Texans fan here. I'm very, very happy. The first half, I was very sad and very depressed, but the third quarter got a little bit better. It got a little bit better. The popcorn got sweeter. And you know what, Justin? We came out with the victory, so I don't want to toot our horn too much there, Justin, but a happy Texans fan and going into Week 11, Justin, that is for sure. But yeah, Justin, it's a juicy week of matchups there. I mean, the Thursday night, once again, isn't all that appealing, but Justin, there are a lot of good matches. I'm very intrigued of this early Sunday morning game in Spain. But yeah, the two primetime games, I think each teams are all evenly matched up there. And an NFC championship that should have been, Justin, on Sunday night. That's what I'm excited to talk about after it's all said and done. But yeah, Justin, when you're all ready, I'm ready to time you.
All right, set me up. I'm ready. Count me down.
Let's go. All right. In 3, 2, 1, and go.
All right, Week 11 game prediction. We start with Thursday Night Football. The Jets travel to Gillette Stadium, play the Patriots. I'll take the Patriots to win that one easily. Then we go to Madrid, Spain, where we get the Commanders against the Miami Dolphins. I'll take Miami to win. They've been showing out the last couple of weeks. And then we go Carolina at Atlanta. I think Atlanta gets it done, gets their first win in the last month. Tampa Bay at Buffalo. This has got to be the game of the week. Super excited for this one. I'll take Buffalo to win at home here to bounce back off of the loss they had last week. Houston at Tennessee. They get Tennessee off a bye week. Houston just had an emotional win. I'll roll with the Texans to win this game on the road. Chicago at Minnesota. I think Chicago are frauds, and I'm going to go with the Vikings to win this game here at home. We'll talk about that a little later. Green Bay at the Giants. Depends a lot on if Jackson Dart is playing, but I'm going to lean the Packers regardless. Give me Green Bay. Then we got Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. I'll take Pittsburgh to win this one and split their season series. The Chargers at the Jaguars. I'll take Los Angeles to win on the road. Seattle at the Rams. Give me the Rams to win in a divisional game that I really want to watch. Then we get San Francisco at Arizona. And give me Arizona to get the upset here. I think Jacoby Brissett puts it together. Baltimore at Cleveland. I'll take the Ravens to win. Kansas City at Denver. This is a tough one here. Kansas City's favored on the road, and I will stick with them. I'll take the Chiefs. Detroit at Philadelphia. I'll take the Eagles to win there on Sunday Night Football. And then Dallas at Vegas. I'll take Ashton Jinty to have a monstrous game, and they win.
All right, Justin, 133 is your time there. 133. So I like it. I mean, honestly, well, there's no Indianapolis Colts and no Saints. So that's really good because, I mean, obviously you got Jonathan Taylor, but when you take away Jonathan Taylor, there's not really too much to go crazy about when the Saints or Colts are playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I might take a little longer because I like this week. There's
some games that deserve some extra attention this week. I understand.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, I'm going to count you down. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, ready. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, we go to New England where they dominate the Jets. Drake May stays hot. We go to Spain where the Dolphins go against the Commanders. Give me the Dolphins there. Tua has a great game. We go to Atlanta where we get a confusing game for both teams, Panthers, Falcons. Give me the Falcons in an ugly late go-ahead field goal. We go to Buffalo where I think Baker Mayfield struggles again just like last week. Josh Allen has a phenomenal game this time around at home. Give me the Bills. We go to Tennessee, where I'm hoping my Texans win, ? Let's go with the Texans. We go to New York, where they host the Packers. Regardless of Jackson Dart or Russell Wilson, I think the Packers bounce back from a tough couple weeks. Give me the Packers. We go to Pittsburgh, where they host the Bengals. I think that this Bengals defense is just cooked all around. Give me the Steelers hanging on 40 points. Give me the Steelers at home. We go to Jacksonville, where they host the Chargers. Somewhat of a defensive battle at first, but I think late in the second half, some fireworks kind of pop off. Maybe Trevor Lawrence big time game, a Justin Herbert game. Give me the Jags stealing one late against the Chargers.
All
We
right.
go to Los Angeles where they host the Seahawks. And my game of the week, to be honest, I don't know how to pick this game. I think Sam Darnold has a great game. I think it falls down to Devontae plays, but you know what? I'm going to go with the Rams. Give me the Rams stealing it late. We go to Arizona where the 49ers visit. Give me the 49ers defense having a great day. Give me the 49ers. We go to Cleveland where they host the Ravens. Give me Lamar Jackson. 3 total touchdowns on the road to get another victory for the Ravens. We go to Denver where they host the Ravens. Oh, man, this one is tough. Give me the Chiefs stealing one late. Patrick Mahomes game-winning touchdown drive. Then we go to Philadelphia where they host the Lions. This might be a little bit more of a defensive showdown than people think. I think that the Eagles play smart. They run the football. They hold on to victory. Give me the Eagles at home. And then the Vegas Raiders host the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Cowboys have an impressive showing to honor their teammate. Give me the Cowboys.
All right, we got a minute 58, so right under 2 minutes. That's still pretty good. That's better than
Yeah.
what the last couple of weeks. Better than the
Well,
last couple at
I
least that.
was I was I was trying to make it to 2, but there's actually a lot to talk about here. I don't know.
I want to start with your game of the week because you mentioned it being a game
Okay.
that's super exciting to you. So I'll let you. I'll roll out the carpet for you. What are your thoughts on
Yes.
the Seahawks and Rams game?
So my 2 game of the weeks that I would, if I had one to choose, it's them and then Denver and Kansas City. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna go with the fireworks here. I love SoFi Stadium. That's what this game's gonna be at. So I have to be a little biased. And with this game, you see Sam Darnold. He struggled last week against the Cardinals, but for some reason the Seattle Seahawks are putting 41 points, and it's just quite interesting. Yes, the Cardinals suck, but there's something about this Seattle team that screams underdog. Like one of those NFC teams that get hot late in the playoffs and actually make a Super Bowl. Like it's one of those Rex Grossman led Chicago Bears that make it in 2006. It's like a Kurt Warner Arizona Cardinals making it in 2009. So it's like one of those sneaky teams that make it to a Super, might not win it, but it's led by a cool underdog story, right? And with these Seahawks, they're very sneaky. I mean, first of all, JSN is killing it. And then quietly, Justin, what I thought that in the offseason has come true. Zach Charbonnet is the number 1 guy in Seattle. I think that he's going to get all the goal line carries. He's the better running back. That's what I was afraid going into this year. I remember saying this, Seattle should look to trading Kenneth Walker because I think Charbonnet, he just feels like the Seattle guy. You know what? He is a Seattle guy. And I feel like if they can rely on a running game, Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker, all the rest of the season going into the playoffs, they are a sneaky team to knock off a Philadelphia, knock off a Detroit. To my eyes, at this point, they're better than Green Bay. So Seattle is very intriguing. Can Sam Darnold be the guy? If Torrey Horton is healthy, obviously you have JSN, Cooper Kupp against his former team, Justin, a guy that was a Triple Crown winner, Super Bowl MVP, is returning to his home to face McVay. They get this time last year, Justin, they were going to trade him. They were done with Cooper Kupp already mid the season. They knew what they had, and Puka Nacua. They were ready to part ways at this point when the trade deadline had passed. So I wonder what Cooper Kupp is saying. He had a big time grab last week against the Cardinals. So I'm excited to see. And then on the other side, you get Los Angeles, right? Hopefully Devontae and Puka can play, but these are what they kind of went forward, leaving Cooper Kupp behind, and so it's very interesting. And then Matthew Stafford's playing at an all-time level. He looks good. He looks like he's been eating. It's like the LA lifestyle has been treating him great there. And he feels a little bit more spark. Could be his last year. Like I mentioned in our start to sit, his best friend Clayton Kershaw just retired, rode into the sunset with the World Series. The Rams are a top 5 team to win the Super Bowl, a top 5 offense. So it's just 2 divisional rivals and one of my favorite stadiums clashing off against each other. Both teams, Justin, utilize both of their running backs. If you don't see Kyron Williams, you're seeing a lot of Blake Corum. And on the other side, if you're not seeing Charbonnet, you're seeing Kenneth Walker. But you get the 2 guys that are goal line favorites in Kyron and Charbonnet going against each other. You get a Puka versus JSN. It is just popcorn all around there. You get a McVay versus McDonald matchup, a guy who's a defensive coordinator against an offensive guru. Justin, it's just all perfect for me. This feels like a NFC Championship game.
Honestly, I'm looking at this game, and I think you're completely right, man. And I honestly, man, it's making me – I called Rams, right, when we just did the rapid fire, but I could be changing my pick here because –
Me too, Justin.
I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing here with Seattle. Both teams are coming in on an absolute hot streak, 4 straight wins for each. The Rams have won 3 of their last 4 games have been by 24-plus points. So they're dominating teams. I know one of them is the Saints, one of them was the Jags, and one of them was the Niners last week, but the Niners are a good football team. And so, man, this game is really tough to grasp. But I do like the Cooper Kupp revenge narrative. I think Seattle has just been super electric on both sides of the ball. Wow, I might have to switch my pick here. To be honest with
That's
you.
Justin. That's one of the reasons why I could have gone to 2 minutes and 2:10, or maybe two. Because this game was a lot to break down. I do like the Rams in this game, but Justin, four
Yeah.
point favorites. I think it's more like a 1 point favorite because this is a two. This game is too close to call, in my opinion.
This game will be tied. I'll stick with the Rams, but I don't love it. I think that's not a game I'm betting on the winner because it could go either
Absolutely.
way. I am really excited with that. And honestly, it shows out on it. You're right. This weekend is really star studded because I think the Tampa Bay Buffalo game is going to be a crazy shootout.
Ooh.
We got Cincinnati Pittsburgh as another shootout. Seattle Rams. I think you said Kansas City Denver's going to be a good one, and Detroit Philly.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's talk about Tampa and Buffalo because
Okay.
it's very interesting, Justin. Tampa versus this AFC. What is it? East Division. Last week they played the Patriots, which I thought that was a great game.
Oh yeah.
We got to see a lot out of Drake May, a lot out of Baker Mayfield, and Emeka Ibuka's on fire, and it almost makes you wonder if the Bills could have traded up and gotten an Emeka Ibuka because they were kind of in that range. I know they made the AFC Championship, so they're probably picking at 28, but they were in that range where Tampa picked Emeka. It makes you wonder if they could have traded up where Emeka Ibuka was drafted, and Justin, how beautiful that could have been. Josh Allen to Emeka Ibuka. I know you had both of them in our main league, but wouldn't it be crazy if you had both of them in Buffalo, where
Oh, yeah.
Josh Allen, Emeka Ibuka with Baker is money, but Josh Allen with Emeka Ibuka, not to mention there's no one in Buffalo that could challenge him in target share. How beautiful that would have been. It would have been a dream. Randy Moss, Tom Brady to Randy Moss, pretty much. But I would say this, Justin. Baker Mayfield has a little bit of underdog grit to him, and I think last week he was embarrassed. And Josh Allen, this offense, like you mentioned in one of your TikToks, this offense is not good. This defense is not good. This was my concern going into the year, Justin. They just have Josh Allen. I promise you, Justin, if you take Josh Allen off of Buffalo, yes, they have James Cook, but I'm taking Cleveland. I'm taking Cleveland's offense because they have a Judkins who could be as good as a Cook. Judy is probably better than Coleman and Shakur.
Oh yeah.
And both tight ends in Cleveland are probably as good as Kincaid. I know he's hurt right now. They had another tight end, number 85, who scored. Was it Hayes? I want to say his name is
Jackson.
Hawes or something like that. I did see him score a touchdown late in that game when I was watching the Bills game. But Justin, I want to say this. This Buffalo offense, this team overall has got to prove something. But this Tampa offense, they got disrespected last week by New England. I think that it's another close game like Buffalo favored almost 6 points. I don't know, Justin. That's too close for me. I think they're more of a 3-point favorite, not 6.
Yeah, I think this game will be closer than 5.5 that it is at right now. I do think Tampa is going to lose it in a close fashion like they did to New England last week. But Buffalo got absolutely disrespected and embarrassed last week as well. Like they almost pitched the Dolphins almost pitched a shutout to Buffalo, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Josh Allen was 14-2 against the Dolphins going into that game, and then he just got embarrassed. But you're right. They just don't have the personnel on the field around Josh Allen to just get me excited. And now that Kincaid is injured and is week to week, I don't think he'll play against Tampa Bay this week. So I'm a little worried overall. I just think that the good thing is Tampa Bay's defense is not something to be scared about. So I think that Buffalo will be able to score. But it's going to be a back and forth. I expect a lot of points from both sides of the ball. So I think that game will be a really fun watch. I lean the home team just because it's in Orchard Park. But I could see Tampa Bay doing something special here if, Emeka just goes off, or even like a Cade Otton plays really well because he's played really well over the last couple of weeks. Or Tez Johnson. Tez Johnson's been a surprise of the season so far. He got 2 touchdowns last week. So that game's super fun. Let's also talk about Detroit, Philadelphia, because Philadelphia, I feel like a lot of people are angry at Philadelphia, at least fantasy-wise, probably just all around, because their offense has not shown out, and it's hurt everybody for the most part, maybe except Devonta Smith. He's had some good games, but like Goddard struggled last week, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts even had a bad game, but you know how talented they are as a roster, as players. So what is wrong with Philadelphia, and will it get fixed in this game, Genoa?
It will get fixed. I think Detroit is very tough. But Justin, one of the weirder reigning champs that have kept all their players. A player didn't retire. They kept everyone. They have their offense intact, and it's just a weird season. the weirdest 7-2 reigning champs I have ever seen. It's just something is so weird about it that I don't know. They're so open with their issues, but there's still something that has not been scooped out of the dirt yet. And I don't know, Justin. Like their defense plays good, and then their offense plays bad, but then the offense plays good, and their defense plays bad. It's just you get a game against a Broncos about a month ago where you're scratching your head, and then a Giants loss, and then but then Monday Night Football, it went opposite ways where they could have lost the game. It could have gone. They were play away from losing that game. They could have got sent in overtime if it wasn't for that block kick, and who knows what would have happened. But a weird offense, Justin. I wish this game. First of all, I want to say this could have been. This was my pick for the NFC Championship game last year until Washington spoiled things, right? But then Washington, shocked Detroit, so that's why they were able to go to Philly for the NFC title game. But it wasn't for that. I think Philly would have gone to Detroit for the NFC title game because Detroit was the number one seed. It makes you think, Justin. Could Detroit, if they won that divisional round against Washington, could they have faced Philadelphia at home? And they could have played Kansas City in the Super Bowl. In New Orleans, maybe the Chiefs win that. Who knows? But you know what, Justin? Another thing is that I want to see what Dan Campbell does because this offense, Jared Goff on the road, he had a good road game last week, but his road games are weird sometimes. So that Philly defense can drain you. What they did to Jordan Love last week on the road, I feel like at home, I need Jared Goff to have another big-time game as he did against the Commanders last week.
Yeah, and I'm looking at a little history here real quick. And the last time we saw the Lions and the Eagles line up against each other was back the year after the Eagles made the Super Bowl. And it was a 38-35 win for the Eagles. I remember this season, right? This was the first half of the season where the Eagles – there was something wrong with the Eagles, but they were winning football games, which is kind of similar to this year. And then obviously after the bye week, they all collapsed. That was the year they collapsed.
It was the 49ers loss. The 49ers came in and beat up on them. I want to say
that was right. That was
Deebo Samuel's big game against the Eagles. That was the collapse of Philly that year. I know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
Well, this year, if you look at it, the big change here, at least over the last couple of weeks, is Dan Campbell has taken over play calling from Morton. I forgot his first name, the current offensive coordinator, and he's been really good. I mean, they look so good. They look electric last week. And so Detroit's going to bring it. But it seems like every game that Philadelphia has gotten tested where an offense is scoring on them, they've been able to pull out offensive plays, and they've been able to score back. It seemed like essentially what they're doing is playing to the offense, the competition level that they're going against every single week, which is dangerous, but it's exciting for this week because I think the Lions are going to be able to score against Philadelphia. And with that, I think Philadelphia will be able to combat that. So that game will be a fun watch on Sunday Night Football, unlike this past Sunday Night Football where the Steelers look like dog crap against the Chargers. So I think that will be a much better game there. What's the next? The other one, Denver and Kansas City. You mentioned that one as a possible game of the week. It's got a little bit of a lower over-under compared to the other games we've discussed today. But Bo Nix has been bad. The straight-up period. Thursday night was ugly against a bad Raiders defense. Do you think he bounces back here? I know it's another division matchup, but this one's even tighter because it's against, the big foe in Kansas City. I think Bo Nix is going to bounce back this week.
Yeah, I agree, Justin. He's going to need to throw. This game could be a defensive showdown, but for some reason, I just don't think it does. When you look at Kansas City and Denver, these matchups in Denver, it's not always the prettiest for Patrick Mahomes. I mean, there's times where he's won it. Obviously, I think this game last year, Denver won it because Mahomes didn't play. I think this was the last game of the year. I could be wrong. Yeah, this was the last game of the year last year.
Yeah,
so I don't think Mahomes. Yeah, so but before the previous games, I just think that Mahomes has got gritty wins on the road. So we'll see. Bo Nix, before the Raiders matchup, he had been playing pretty good. He's had some good moments, but you're right, Justin. I mean, we'll see what happens. I think a Trey Franklin big time game could happen. Maybe some more Harvey. We like Harvey every now and then. I don't know if J.K. Dobbins has a good game. It's just tough to depict how this game's going to go down. That's why I have to go with the Chiefs because I just don't know what kind of Denver team I'm going to see. Because if you score 10 points against the Chiefs like you did against the Raiders last week, you're losing. Mahomes is going to at least get you 13. So, That's the only thing that worries me about Denver. We'll see what happens. Is Pat Surtain playing? I don't think he is because
No, he's
I
still
think it'd
out.
be he's
Still out.
still out. Okay, he's still out. Yeah, I just wanted to check. But I think that would have been a cool matchup against Rasheed Rice.
And
Rasheed Rice,
listen to this. If those curious about who they want to pick in this game, the Andy Reid led Chiefs or just Andy Reid led teams are 22-4 immediately following a bye week. So Kansas City's coming off a bye week. And for those thinking, well, is 22-4 like 2024 sounds 22-4 sounds good, but like how good is it? Well, it might just be the best winning percentage off of a bye week by any head coach ever. So this guy is locked in coming off of a bye week. He makes adjustments. His team gets a rest. So I think Kansas City's going to come out and win this game. I do think it will be close. I think Bo Nix will be better than he was last week because last week, man, he didn't look like a quality NFL starting quarterback. It was ugly. It was a game I wish I didn't watch on Thursday Night Football. I think this game will be much better. I think you are starting guys like, of course, you're starting Rasheed Rice. If you watch our starts and sits episode, I say sit Travis Kelce. What you got?
Oh, I want to say, Justin, this is kind of breaking news. I don't know if you saw this, but J.K. Dobbins is a potential candidate for IR in a sustained left foot injury.
That has changed.
So that changes things. I mean, he's been good every year he's played. He just gets hurt, Justin. Pat Surtain is currently questionable, Justin. So just putting that out there as well.
We'll see if RJ Harvey can get his TreVeyon Henderson moment this week. Then that would be a very interesting one against it. I mean, it's a tougher defense than what Henderson had to go against last week, but
yeah,
he'll probably split with Tyler Bidet. But
yeah.
I think he would be the lead back in that one. So if you have RJ Harvey, that might be something to definitely monitor. He would definitely be worth a start if J.K. Dobbins is unable to go, which if they're considering IR, it could be multi-week. So watch out for Harvey there, and watch out for Denver. I think it's going to be really good. All right, we'll move on to close this episode with our three things that we talked about off air. So, Genoa, give me your three. You got to start with your shootout game of the week to watch that you want players invested in it, and then you got to get your upset and you got to get your lock.
Okay, well, the fantasy game of the week has got to be Seattle at Los Angeles because you got, if Puka plays, assuming Puka Devontae plays, they're obviously in your starting lineups. And then Matt Stafford, who's my starting quarterback of the week. You got Kyron Williams, who has been really good fantasy-wise. I think last week he got you, 80 yards and 2 touchdowns there. So that's on one side. The other side of the field, you got Sam Darnold. Obviously, you're starting Jason. He's having a better year than Jefferson. He's having better than Jefferson. Yeah. He's literally. I mean, you could have drafted Jason over Jefferson, still be good. So you got and then Charbonnet. Charbonnet's the number one guy. He's the number one guy in Seattle. I think that he's the bell cow. He's the goal line guy. Kenneth Walker is flex. If you're struggling at tight end, maybe see if Gardner's healthy, good to go. I don't know if I'm starting Cooper Kupp, but if you're feeling lucky, maybe you've got Pittman on bye or Olave's on bye. I'm trying to think of other receivers. Maybe Alec Pierce is on bye. Yeah. Those are the 3 receivers that you're start. Maybe you've got Kamara at flex and he's on bye. Maybe you had to move a running back up because Jonathan Taylor's on a bye weeks. Maybe I'd start Cooper Kupp in that situation. Maybe I think there's still a lot out there that you can look for. But since he's healthy, I guess, and he's playing his former team. But that's my fantasy. You said upset of the week?
Yeah.
Upset of the week. Oh, man, this is a good one. Jacksonville. No, I don't know. Okay. There's a lot of good ones. But I'm going to go with Tampa as my upset of the week. Because Buffalo's favorite at 5.5. I think that Baker Mayfield off a ugly loss, or not ugly, but it was somewhat embarrassing. He just wasn't good in the fourth quarter. Drake May took over. I think this time he doesn't want to lose to another AFC East team. So he goes on the road and gets one on a weaker Buffalo team that's being carried by Josh Allen. And then my lock, right? My lock of the week?
Yeah.
My lock of the week. That's a good one. Let's go with, Let's go with the 49ers. The Cardinals, Justin, have become the most disgusting teams to watch. They're just they remind me of that food that is kind of good, but you eat it and it just hurts your stomach. It's like, you know what? I like Jack in the Box. Let's go get Jack in the Box. You take a couple bites, an hour later, you're just like, ugh. bad idea.
Yeah.
And that's what the Cardinals are to me. I think San Francisco, Purdy looks to be playing. It doesn't matter if not. I think Mac Jones had an off week last week against a tough Rams team. Whoever it is at quarterback, those wide receivers are getting fed. Jennings, if Pearsall returns, obviously we saw Kittle return to his former self last week. You obviously got McCaffrey. So I think this offense is going to turn it on the road against the Cardinals team. I think even I want to take it a step further. The 49er fans, I want to say Justin traveled really well. When they came to play my Texans, a sea of red and gold for the first hour, Justin. Pre-game, watching McCaffrey. So I can only assume where Arizona and California are not too far from each other. These 49er fans are going to travel just as good in Arizona. They're familiar with that stadium. So I think they're going to take over. I think it's a lock for the 49ers to dominate Brissett. And I mean, we look at Arizona. DeMarco's getting touches, but is he really? Bam Knight might be the guy. And is Trey Benson going to practice? Marvin is just, why did they even draft Marvin? The only thing that's really good for them is McBride. But I think this defense has a good matchup to stop McBride and Marvin.
Interesting. I think that's an interesting take there. I know I picked Arizona, so I'm definitely on the other side of it. But for me, with my three picks here, I talked a lot about Tampa Bay Buffalo. I would pick them for my shootout, like fantasy game of the week. But I'll give some love to a game we didn't fully dive into, which is Cincinnati Pittsburgh. I'm starting a lot. I would start a lot of guys in there. Obviously, all the Cincinnati guys, Flacco, Jamar, T, Chase Brown. But on Pittsburgh, I'm starting Aaron Rodgers. I'm starting Jalen Warren. I'm starting DK Metcalf. And honestly, if you want to take your spin on Jonnu or Pat Freiermuth, go at it. Like I honestly think one of them is going to go off. Obviously, in Week 7 when they played against each other on Thursday Night Football, all three tight ends scored touchdowns, and Pat Freiermuth had two, one of which was like a 70-yarder. But I think one or two tight ends are going to have good games as well. So I'm really high on that football game there. For my upset of the week, I'll roll with the Raiders beating the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. I think Trey Tucker has a huge game, just like he did against the Commanders in like Week 3. And then I talk a lot about Ashton Genty on our Starts and Sit show. I think Brock Bauer. I mean, the matchup obviously is great. So I'm on the Raiders to pull off an upset here and surprise a lot of people. And then lock of the week, I probably have to jump to the beginning of the week. And I think New England will win by more than 12.5. I think they dominate the Jets, even though the Jets have come off of two straight wins now. 2 straight wins, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I think New England is able to shut them up a little bit and put them back in their place. So I think New England wins there as my lock of the week. But Dween Nation, those are our rapid-fire game picks, locks, shootouts, upsets, all of the above, helping you guys pick if you have game pick'ems or if you're just curious who you think's going to win certain games. We are here that's what we discussed, and we are happy to help in all ways we can. But thank you guys for listening. Drop your comments, thoughts, likes. Check out the TikTok and Instagram per usual. And Genoa, send us out.
Yo, Dween Nation. This was our rapid fire picks of the week as we discussed all these games that are in Week 11. This is so crazy that we're at this point of the year, but it's been such a fun season. It's been something different every week. Buffalo beats a Kansas City, but then the next week, Kansas City, Buffalo loses to Miami, and then you get a Green Bay dominates Pittsburgh on a Sunday night, and then loses 2 straight. So you never know what you're going to get at this league. So we're excited to see what happens this weekend, guys. So thank you guys for watching. We love you guys, and as always,
our show sponsor is Aspire Drinks. If you go to aspiredrinks.com, using the code Dween, you can save 15% on all of your orders. I just bought a 27-pack variety edition because there's so many different good flavors. It's green tea power energy drinks, less caffeine, more benefits, the refreshingly unextreme energy. Go and get some today using code Dween, and let's get back to the video.